Good morning. This is the international arbitrage coming in from the west coast of Barbados, Bats route. And today we're going to talk about, well, I'm going to talk about the fact of why I'm decided to move back to Barbados and work from Barbados. As many of you know, I'm an international tax lawyer. I work with families doing international businesses, families who live in one country, have business in one country, but they may have trusts and companies in different countries. They may be raising money, they may be living in Brazil, but raising money for their Brazilian business in the United States of America. That is not involve only fundraising, and I'm not a fundraising guy. I tend to specialize in the tax structures, and the people needed to put together and operate structures to be able to raise funds in compliance with the laws of the US or Canada or the UK. I am not, I don't have a Rolodex of potential investors. So let me just put that out there. That's not what I'm saying, because I got lots of calls from people looking for investment and money, but that's not what I do. Unless I'm, involved with the project, and of course I'm not involved in most projects. I'm just one of many advisors. But I moved back to Barbados and decided to work from here because after living in the UK, the US, Ireland, and a number of other places, I just felt that basically Barbados was the best fit for me. It's a fantastic international business platform, but it doesn't matter about the place because different people, different strokes, different folks. The key thing I think is after spending a lot of time out there and seeing what I've seen, all I can think about is what's right for me. What's what balance? What's balance? What does balance look like for you? And where can you achieve that? Where can you achieve that balance? Not just a blind sort of living in a place. And I did that for a long time. I lived in London in the UK, where I was actually born, for nearly 20 years. But I never really realized a lot of the things that I could have done while I was there. That probably had more to do with my upbringing and the type of person that I am. I'm not blaming anyone or anything, but it was just interesting, noticeable for me that I didn't really engage in life in the UK. There were a lot of things that I probably could have done, but that I didn't do. I don't regret it, but it's just that I wasn't looking at life that way back then. But in my latest travel, since leaving the UK, I've lived in Ireland, the US, the US. I have my oldest daughter lives in Canada. And so, I've got a different perspective on things now. All of us are, nothing unusual about that. Look, I'm not claiming to be, I don't have any answers for anyone. I'm just relaying my thoughts, my experience, my perception, adding that to everything else that everyone is doing out there. I am not a multi-millionaire with a massively successful business that I can advise you on what to do in life and how to make millions of dollars. That's not me. I haven't figured that out. I'm like the rest of you. I'm looking, but nonetheless, I will contribute my thoughts and views to the conversation. I like this social media. I like the thought of leaving my thoughts and perceptions and views for the record. I believe in communication. I think communication unlocks vast economic value. It solves problems. I had a video earlier today where I talked about an announcement with the United States State Department that negotiations between the US and Venezuela are undergoing in Barbados. I mean, there are farms in Venezuela and the US that are bigger than Barbados, but Barbados definitely does have, like all countries, a unique set of people that bring some value to the world, and that's a great thing to see. So I know I've meandered a bit in this video, but that's on purpose. Just putting my thoughts out there for any of you who might be wondering, well, why is he doing this? Why is he saying these things? The other thing, I guess, that I should really say in this environment is that, there's high demand right now in the world, but trust is low. Trust amongst people is very low, especially internationally. Trust is low, and I'm operating in that environment. I'm not selling anyone anything. I think I am one of the proponents of the axiom that selling is dead. You can't convince anyone of anything anymore. I think what we're all doing now is telling our stories, sharing our stories, sharing our perspective. Those of us who want to work together will work together, and that's it. That's what I think is happening. I think things have changed tremendously from 20, 30 years ago, where there was a lot of selling. Obviously there still is a lot of selling, but certainly in the space that I work in, with families, with people, it is largely about sharing stories, sharing perspectives, and then deciding if you want to work together. So young people who are interested in this space, your emphasis should definitely be on communication skills, and working in teams, and telling stories, and being able to tell stories in a way that works for you, however that is. I mean, I'm not the most I'm coming to like it. I'm beginning to enjoy it a lot more. As an overweight guy, it was difficult for me to get in front of the camera, but I felt I had to, because being based in Barbados, it's obviously there's not a lot of people here. There's a lot of people flying in and out, but I definitely want to reduce my international travel, and so also I spend a lot of time taking calls, having these types of philosophical, these types of storytelling calls and discussions where where you exchange perspectives with people over Zoom. And I did this for so many hundreds of hours of Zoom that weren't recorded. And then I was thinking, why not just why not record this and put it on YouTube? And how this is going to help me in my business is that I will be able to, as I get less time, as I spend more time with my family on training and my calisthenics, and as I begin to focus on different things and on myself, I can direct people who want to talk to me, get to know me, and say, here's some of my videos. At least it's a start. It's not me, but you can get an idea of who I am and what I'm about by just listening to my thought process. And then I may or may not come across as somebody that you want to work with. And I think for me, that's a much better way of doing business. I was never comfortable with quote unquote selling. I guess it shows I'm not a multi-millionaire, but I much prefer the idea of brand and doing things that way, and communication. I much more enjoy that process. So I'm going to focus on what I enjoy. Alright guys, that's it for now from the International Arbitrage on Baxwell in October. Cheers.